through Oregon and Washington is considered to be one of the most dangerous volcanic regions in the United States. This region's volcanic threat is heightened by the proximity of several major urban centers, including Portland, Seattle, and Tacoma, to active volcanoes such as Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, and Mount Rainier. Mount St. Helens, located about 50 miles northeast of Portland, is infamous for its catastrophic eruption on May 18, 1980. This eruption, which caused 57 deaths and extensive damage, remains a stark reminder of the potential devastation these volcanoes can unleash. Today, Mount St. Helens is closely monitored due to its history of activity and potential for future eruptions. Scientists predict that Mount St. Helens will erupt again, although the timing and scale are uncertain. Regardless, when it does, it will be very noticeable from Portland. Speaking of Portland, Mount Hood, the tallest mountain in Oregon, is also only about 50 miles from the city. Although it hasn't erupted since the 1790s, Mount Hood is considered an active volcano with the potential for future eruptions. The primary concern with Mount Hood is the risk of volcanic mudflows called lahars, which could devastate the surrounding areas, including parts of the Portland metropolitan area. Lahars can occur even without an eruption, as the heat from the volcano melts the mountain's significant snow and ice cover. But it's actually Mount Rainier, located approximately 60 miles southeast of Seattle and Tacoma, that poses one of the greatest volcanic threats in the United States. Standing at 14,411 feet, it is the highest peak in the Cascade Range and is heavily glaciated. An eruption or significant seismic activity could trigger massive lahars capable of reaching the densely populated areas of Seattle and Tacoma. Historic lahars from Mount Rainier have traveled as far as the Puget Sound, and current studies suggest that similar events could have catastrophic impacts on infrastructure and communities in the region. Though it should be noted that the odds of a lahar actually reaching Seattle is pretty slim. The potential damage from all three of these volcanoes is multifaceted. Beyond the immediate impact of eruptions, such as pyroclastic flows and ash fall, the secondary effects like lahars and floods can cause widespread destruction. Lahars can bury valleys and structures under thick mud, disrupt transportation networks, and contaminate water supplies. Ash clouds can pose serious hazards to aviation, clogging engines and impairing visibility for millions of people who live in nearby major cities. Thankfully, the United States Geological Survey and other scientific bodies continuously monitor these volcanoes to provide early warnings and mitigate risks. The USGS National Volcanic Early Warning System aims to improve the monitoring and hazard assessment of high-threat volcanoes, focusing on those with the potential to impact large population centers. So while Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood could wreak havoc in the future when they next erupt, we should have plenty of warning to get prepared before they actually do. Today, the Seattle metropolitan region, including Tacoma, would be the most in danger by a volcanic eruption due to their proximity to Mount Rainier. This means that over 4 million people could be either directly or indirectly harmed should Rainier blow its top. A further 2.5 million people in Portland would also be affected if Mount Hood erupted as well. And while neither cities are close enough to be completely destroyed, such as ancient Pompeii with Mount Vesuvius, it still won't be a fun time for anyone nearby, especially the many smaller towns that are much closer. But while this video has mainly been about volcanoes near or within the Pacific Ocean, it might make you think, why aren't there more active volcanoes in the United States' largest and most prominent mountain range, the Rocky Mountains?
Stop guessing when it comes to what baits are going to work in your area. When I'm fishing a new
The Rocky Mountains, the most prominent mountain range in the United States, are noticeably devoid of active volcanoes outside of the Yellowstone region. This lack of volcanic activity can be attributed to the unique geologic history and tectonic settings of the Rockies, which differ significantly from other volcanic regions in the United States. The formation of the Rocky Mountains, which extends from Canada through the central United States to New Mexico, is primarily the result of tectonic processes that occurred during the Laramide orogeny. This orogeny, which took place approximately 80 to 55 million years ago, was characterized by the collision and subsequent compression of the Pacific Plate beneath the North American Plate. This tectonic interaction led to the uplift and formation of the Rockies, creating a range that is predominantly composed of sedimentary, metamorphic, and ancient igneous rocks, rather than the younger, more active volcanic rocks found in the Cascades. Moreover, the Rockies are situated in the interior of the North American Plate, far from the Pacific Ring of Fire, where most of the world's volcanoes are found. This intraplate location means that the tectonic forces necessary to create and sustain active volcanoes are largely absent. Yellowstone National Park, located at the eastern edge of the Rockies, is an exception due to its position over a volcanic hotspot. The Yellowstone caldera, a supervolcano, is one of the few areas in the Rockies with significant volcanic activity. This hotspot has produced massive eruptions over the past 2 million years, the most recent of which occurred approximately 640,000 years ago. However, the volcanic activity associated with the Yellowstone hotspot is not indicative of the broader Rocky Mountain region, as it is a localized geologic phenomenon. And that's basically it. The Rocky Mountains were formed much earlier and with a tectonic pattern that didn't rely on the explosion of volcanoes in the same way that the Cascade Mountain Range did. And outside of the Yellowstone caldera, the Rocky Mountains are pretty safe as far as volcanic eruptions go. The Cascades will blow again at some point, and it will likely be Mount St. Helens again. But if it happens to be Mount Hood in Oregon or Mount Rainier in Washington State, the nearby cities of Portland and Seattle could find themselves in some trouble. You've learned a lot about volcanoes and the Pacific Northwest this week, so why not end today's video by checking out one of these amazing maps over on my map store? Any of them would make a great addition to your home. I hope you enjoyed learning all about the United States volcanoes and where the most active ones are. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If you want to watch more videos, click here. If you want to check out my podcast, click here. Thanks for watching. See you next time.